Hello. So if you clicked on this video, you are probably struggling with consistency. Luckily, I have a few tips and tricks to kind of, help you get back into the groove and help you start out your upcoming school year well and very disciplined. So to start off, I want to talk about how my first 2 semesters went in college, just based off of like schedule wise. Then talk about how I managed my schedule in the summer when my schedule wasn't as packed or as finite. And then I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do this upcoming fall. So, pretty much during my first 2 semesters, I was kind of getting into the groove of how college worked, how to set up your own routine. And during the first semester specifically, I had a Google Calendar where I put down all my classes and nothing else. So pretty much I would put down all my classes and make a mental note of whatever I needed to get done during the day and just whatever I had planned. And while a lot of people do that and it may work for them, I think for most people it won't work and it should not be your main way of planning out your day. So what I did the second semester when I realized I need to get better results with, my own health, mentally, physically, as well as my grades to be, improved. I decided to, write down everything that I was going to do throughout the day, every day in my Google Calendar. And some people probably have tried that before, where they try to make like a full fleshed out schedule for yourself. And the reason that they never stick with that schedule is because they cram everything in all at once. And the reason that's so bad is because you overwhelm yourself to the point where you don't think it's possible to maintain that sort of schedule after maybe at most a week of following it. Or what I usually do is when I was trying to make my schedule consistent, I would follow it for maybe 2 to 3 days max, and then just realize that I wouldn't be able to maintain this sort of consistently. What you want to do is you want to add stuff in sort of increments. You want to add stuff just one, little things at a time onto your schedule, and until you're able to have a full-on schedule that you yourself are happy with. And I think this is very, very important for, maintaining your mental health, maintaining your discipline, maintaining your structure and balance in your life, because you want to be able to stay true to yourself, but also make sure that you're trying to be as productive and, whatever the best individual is that you can be. So what I try to do was once I was able to have a full fleshed out schedule that was attuned to me, I was able to see a lot more success throughout my second semester than I did my first semester, or a noticeable improvement. And during the summer, once that was kind of all over, I was kind of just done. I was like, I needed to take a full-on mental break. So right after the semester ended, I had a few summer classes I decided to take just to kind of get ahead a little bit. And so I took those 2 summer classes, had a more brief schedule for myself, and then I decided that I was just gonna be lazy while I could. And while it's good to give yourself sort of a mental break from life every so often, it's not really good to just completely give up everything you're going to be doing, which is why I realized halfway through the summer, when I realized school was closer than I thought and the upcoming fall semester would be brutal if I wasn't fully building my way up back to my own schedule. I've already had my schedule before, and I know that I can do it, But the thing is, if you have a schedule and then you completely like remove that from your life for about, 2 to 3 months, and then you go back to it, you're gonna realize, you're gonna be like, how did I even do this in the first place? Like, how did I even follow the schedule in the first place? And so what you want to do during the summer is you want to give yourself that break. You want to give yourself this enjoyment that you get in life during the summer. You should also just have times like that during the actual school year where you can, give yourself like a mental break for like an hour or two each day if you have the time. But what I realized was I need to gradually work my way up back to that schedule that made me so successful with college in my second semester. And the trick I used was I actually used my Notes app, because when you're in the summer, you don't really want to have a finite time to do things you need to do, because you need to have that during the actual school year. So it's kind of hard to get yourself to do things during the day if you don't need to do it at a set time like you do during the school year. So I used the Notes app, and pretty much what I would do is I would write down like 5 to 8 things that I would have to do throughout the day. So I can just give a quick rundown of what I wrote for today specifically. I wrote run 2 to 3 miles in the morning, which I did. I wrote film this YouTube video, which I am currently doing. And then I wrote study for a math placement test I need to take in order to sign up for a class for the next semester. And then I also wrote, schedule appointments, and then also go to an appointment later today that I have for my shoulder, because I ended up tearing it a while ago, maybe I think during the first semester, but yeah, you can kind of see the scarring there a little bit. But basically I've just been going to PT for a while to try to reconstruct it and get it back to what it was before, so I can finally start working out again. But besides that, you basically just want to have 5 to 8 things that you can write down on your Notes app or whatever sort of app that won't cause you stress. And you want to make it like a checklist. Like, it can be something as simple as, cleaning out your car, or, eating lunch or thing at this time of the day. So you kind of have some sort of, structure to what you're doing. And you never want to cram stuff into that, because, you can, but you never really want to cram stuff into this kind of summer schedule that I'm kind of building. You want to give yourself a set amount to do, and then what I like to do is I like to do all of the things I list out but one of them, and basically whichever one I don't pick, I guarantee that I do it the next day. And I just kind of follow that routine where it's like I pick things I need to do throughout the day, and anything that is not really the most important to do during the day at this day specifically, I'll just basically, if I don't have the energy or don't really feel like doing it on this day. So for example, I do have clean out my car today, but since I'm going to be doing all the other stuff I mentioned today, let's just say I don't have the energy, or I don't really feel like cleaning out my car, because it's not like as urgent as some of the other stuff I need to do. I can always just save that for the next day. And that's something that's really good about using the Notes app on your phone, or making sort of a list of what you need to do during the summer, when you don't really have to have a finite schedule and a set block period of when you need to do stuff. And it just kind of helps you be consistent, and it helps you just improve your mental health, and kind of gradually work your way back up to where you were in the actual school year. And I'm not saying it will be, very, very easy to start off your schedule again in the fall, but I'm saying that this will make it significantly less stressful when you already have things planned out in your day that you're going to do, so you can kind of work back to that old schedule that you're going to create. And if you haven't created any sort of schedules before, I would highly recommend, using the Notes app, doing this, building up some sort of activities you need to do, so eventually you can kind of get back to where a solid and, more disciplined routine would be during the actual school year. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.